Let's take a look at the definition for proportions. Definite proportions are a compound always having the same proportions of its constituent elements or its pieces by its mass. That definition was put together by Joseph Proust in 1797, just meaning that all of the pieces will equal 1 or equal the same. So for example, there's my pizza down there. Nice, simple way to start out with this. In a typical one whole pizza, there's about 8 slices. So in my example down below here, one pizza equals 8 slices. So 2 pizzas would equal 16 slices. And then if you reduce those numbers and kind of did some math there, you'd see that's an 8-to-1 ratio. There's 8 slices to every one pizza. Those numbers are the same, basically. Let's take a look at another food example. All right, in this case, a drink, chocolate milk. If you were going to make your own chocolate milk, all right, we got to look at the proportions. All right, you'd need 1 cup of white milk, but then you'd put in 2 scoops of the chocolate powder. So if you're going to make 3 cups, you would need a total of 6 scoops. Again, the proportion is kind of the same. If you take a look at these numbers here on the left, okay, these numbers kind of match up. And if you were to reduce these numbers, it would be a 2-to-1 ratio. If it reduced these numbers, it would also be a 2-to-1 ratio. You need 2 scoops for 1 cup of milk. Now let's take it another step further in more of a chemistry type example. All right, with the elements that we're talking about, if we're talking about CO2, okay, and we look at the periodic table, we see that carbon, all right, has a mass of 12 grams, oxygen 16 grams. So if we were to take these two and take a look at different examples there, you have 12 grams of carbon would equal 32 grams of oxygen because there's double, it's CO2. So we double the number 16 to get to 32. Same way as if we had 2 CO2 molecules, we'd have 24 grams of carbon. We double this number, we'd have 64 grams of oxygen. And the numbers work down this way. So from here, once you understand the proportions, then you'll cross multiply. Okay, those numbers will cancel out and you'll end up with what's a proportion or a ratio. Okay. Always take it back to something very simple with the pizza example, okay, or the chocolate milk example. But once we start to take a look at some of the different elements or compounds, all right, we're going to kind of break it apart and then see what that ratio is for each.